Hey Mujay, how's it going, man? How are you today, sir? Sorry, I kind of look like Two-Face. The lighting is a little bit weird. Sweet! I accidentally erased my notes. That's okay. We don't need notes. Actually, we need notes badly, man. No, we don't. We're okay. Teslagrad. What is that? I'm not familiar with Teslagrad. You should link that after. I've never heard of that before. Yeah, let's still link it up, man. Like, I actually play a lot of modern PC games, and I've never heard of that before. I'm cooking. It's so hot here during the day sometimes. Went to the sauna. Saunas are amazing. I wish I had access to a sauna. I think Andy has a sauna in his house or something. I was like, what? No, saunas. I love saunas, man. So good. Really? That's actually kind of cool. In Canada, that's like exceedingly rare. You would not find a sauna in the typical house, and that's like $1 million property. And even then, like $1 million properties wouldn't have a sauna, especially, or exclusively, I should say. Except in the Finnish regions. Well, whatever. I would love to have access to a sauna. I'm not Swedish, unfortunately. I have to go to the swimming pool like a chump to experience a sauna. Public swimming pool like a chump. Yeah, right? It's like they're first in Batman, and they have saunas in their houses. Like, what more can they give the world? It's funny. It's always cool to learn about like those cultural differences. Like, I think in America you probably wouldn't see a lot of saunas either. Like, you're American, right, Polly? Tell me, how many houses have you been in that have a built-in sauna? Like, that's your answer right there. 0. I can almost promise you to say 0. That's funny, Mujay. It's totally uncommon here. I've never been in somebody's house that had a sauna. It doesn't exist. Even last year, we went to go tour like these $1 million homes as part of like this charity lottery that we bought tickets for. And they had like a built-in greenhouse that you could go like grow your own plants, and there was like some kind of like solar wall that was like bio dirt or something, where you could actually like build, or not build, but like grow spices and stuff like that along the side. There's like a stupid one that had like an elevator in it and all kinds of weird, stupid luxuries, like a hockey rink in the basement, and even they didn't have saunas. You think they would. They had all this other shit, but not saunas. Yeah, 0. 0. 0 and 0. Yeah. That's what I mean. And it's probably not even a luxury in Finland. It's just some guy had a really good idea to make that like standard building protocol. Alright, dudes, I think we shall get ready. I like the pre-chatter. It seems like you guys are rolling in, so. So I have no notes. And in university, like, I thrived on that. I loved not writing anything on paper. I loved not having cue cards. Not gonna lie to you guys, right now I feel a little bit terrified. We'll be okay. We'll be okay. I remember what I wanted to talk about, kinda. Might have to wing it a little bit. Us Canadians don't think of that, man. We just don't. But it's a good idea. I am totally Canadian. I went to university with a girl and she ragged me about that. Apparently the way I say about and roof is all wrong. Like, y'all Americans say it differently. So I don't know what's the actual right pronunciation of roof or about, but that's how I say it, damn it. Is it really that bad? About? I don't think it's that bad, is it? It must be. Hey, Hodar. Welcome, sir. Welcome, welcome. See, Hodar has an accent. That dude has an accent. He is Texas through and through. Hodar? It is windowsill. No, windowsill. There you go. It is windowsill. His Texan accent, he was saying windowsill. I thought it was amazing. My best, sorry. I'm sorry. There is a distinction. There is a distinction between university and college. So maybe that's why. Sorry? Okay, I guess I'm not that Canadian. Alright, so for you guys that are kind of new, I kind of did an introduction, I don't know how long ago. I guess it was like during the first episode. But way back on Twitch. Like I've only existed here like 200 days or something, 300 days. Way back on Twitch when I first started, I streamed Mario Maker. It was randomly something that I liked streaming. It wasn't really anything that I wanted to stream in particular, but that's what I first started really streaming. My very first stream ever was NHL 94. One dude followed me, I've never seen him again. But after that I started streaming Mario Maker pretty regularly. And I probably, before I stopped and I switched completely to retro, I'd say maybe garnished like, I don't know, 50 followers or something from that. It was good enough for what it was. Mario Maker community sucks. I can almost exclusively say all the communities that I've taken part of on Twitch, Mario Maker is the worst. And it is the worst because, well, maybe not the worst, but one of the worst. And it is the worst because when I was streaming it, I would do viewer levels, and people would come in, they would follow you, whatever, they would watch you play your viewer levels, and then as soon as you were done playing the viewer levels, they were gone, never to be seen of again. So you had these people that would follow you that would never return. They would only come back if you were playing one game in specifically if you were doing viewer levels, and there was never really a community that was formed because a lot of the people, there was like this bot thing, it was like a Mario Maker tool where by default, unless you disabled it, which I don't think a lot of people did, it allowed them to lurk. And I don't have anything against lurkers, but it allowed them to lurk until their level was about to be played. Then they would suddenly become active in chat, and then you would play their level and then they'd be gone. From your experience, I'm not sure. As I said, from a streamer experience, you basically had people that were following you that did not contribute to any kind of community. They did not build any kind of community. They didn't stick around to help grow any kind of community. And then after you're done streaming, they just moved on to whoever else had like a low queue. So there wasn't really anything. Like you get people that followed you, but they would never return for something that wasn't Mario Maker. They would never return at all. Like it was almost dead weight. And that community in general was good if you exclusively stream Mario Maker, but I promise you, if you follow any of kind of like the bigger names that still stream viewer levels and stuff like that, they're gonna have very low viewership when they make the switch to something else. And you see that too. Like I never want to name names unless I like ask somebody, and I haven't asked this dude. But when he streams viewer levels, he's got like 1,000 people watching him. He doesn't stream viewer levels. He streams super expert. Sometimes he'll play Pokemon X or Y or Sun, and when he does that, it drops down to like 200. So you can literally see there is like 80% of people don't stick around if it's something else. And I would probably say in my case, that was probably true too. Like 80% of all the people that added me from Mario Maker, I never saw them again. I don't know where these people are. And there are a couple people that still stick around, but they are far and few in between. So that is my brief introduction to what I was going to say, I guess, earlier during like the beginning days. Why that matters now is they being Twitch, released the onboarding program, which maybe some guys you are aware of, maybe not. But basically what it is if you have a phone or something like that and you register, I guess, on your mobile device, it will ask you maybe some questions. I didn't actually check it myself because I didn't want a duplicate Twitch account. But it'll ask you some questions or something. It will link you to certain channels, maybe like 5 or 6, and then it will automatically follow those channels. So if you're a streamer, you might have seen like an influx of random people with gibberish names following you that never participate in chat, and you'll see them follow you. And I think since they rolled out this onboarding thing, maybe like 15 random people that I have yet to see in chat have followed me. So yeah, that is something that kind of ties into that Mario Maker, because I don't think I agree with that onboarding thing. It's creating useless follows of people that might not actually like your content, that have no way of viewing your content as they're signing up, because as far as I know, once you sign up, you're just automatically dispersed to channels that might fit your interests, and then you automatically follow them without actually viewing content. So you're building up almost a fake community around the community that you've already started to build up, and that's a little bit weird. And what I think that does to obviously a real community is if these people start joining and have no idea like what you're streaming or what you do or anything. Wait. I'm going to be subconscious of this. This last stream is like this little wire strap or something that I have on one of my headphones. I was playing with it all last stream and it made like this staticky noise. I will stop that now. I'll remember. But yeah, so it creates almost like a duplicate community where you're filling your following and your viewership with all these people that probably won't tune in. And you see some numbers already, like some people have had like 800 follows, some people have had 200. I know Infested Rich in the last few days has had like 300, so I'd be very curious in asking him how many people have returned from that, or if he's seen from there, like if he scrolls through their names or something, new names in chat, because in my experience from the onboarding thing, there has been like zero. I don't think anybody has come here and actually talked, and if they have, I haven't noticed them. It's just, you know, the regular guys, or if somebody follows me like on the spot or something and they're in chat, then I notice that. But from the onboarding, I don't think I've actually noticed anybody come through. So I am very curious if you're a streamer yourself, if you've been affected by this onboarding, if you have actually had a return in the people that are following you. I don't think, at least in my reaction or my case, it's been that way. But yeah, let me know, because I'm curious about that. I think most people probably haven't seen them come back yet. I don't know if they have or not, but do tell me, I'm curious. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like the other day, and I don't know, like apparently, who was I watching yesterday? Bovine Divine. He was reading on Reddit that apparently maybe Twitch toned it down or fixed it or something. So day one, the influx of follows was obviously like crazy. So you probably saw weird stuff like that. But even yesterday, I watched Bovine's chat for probably a good 2 hours or something. And in that 2 hours, there's probably about 30 people that followed him or 20 people that followed him. And like 2 people were in chat, were actual people. Everybody else that followed him, there was no response. If you checked the viewership, like the viewers in chat, which I was, there was nobody there. So it was like a very automatic process where, again, a robot signed up and that was it. But yeah, sorry, I watched his channel for about 2 hours yesterday. He said on Reddit that they toned it down, so the first couple days or whatever, you might see like 800 people, 300 people, 100 people or whatever. Probably won't happen again. I don't know if that's true or not. I still see quite a few people. It seems like the longer you stream, the more likely somebody is to follow you. I obviously don't get to experience that myself for the most part, because for the most part when I stream, it's still only like an hour at a time. I have a really hard time transcending like that hour time limit usually. So, but yeah, as I said, I don't think anybody for the most part has seen a return, which again, that basically means you're filling up your follow list with people that might not have interest in your content, have no idea who you are or what you do, have never watched you. Like what is the point of this onboarding thing where you're likened to a channel, but there's no real way of viewing the content prior to joining the channel? Like, it seems Twitch has that a little bit backwards. You can recommend like 5 channels to me, but I'm not going to be like, at least in my personal experience, I'm not going to be like, yeah, I'm going to follow this guy because I might like his content. Like I have to watch him or her first to figure out whether or not I actually want to return to them. And if it's not something that I'm interested in, I don't understand why Twitch has, again, created this, so. And I think the biggest thing is it creates kind of like a dead community. As I said earlier, like there's no interaction from these onboarding followers. There's no anything. It's just, they're there taking up space, which kind of ties into what I wanted to talk about, was retro growth, specifically in the retro community. And this is an interesting subject. There's a new dude that I followed. I want to get his name right. It was like McCheese or Mayor McCheese or something. Let me double check to see what it was. I literally followed him like a day ago. Alright, so this guy, his name is Mary McCheese. I don't know if people have seen him before. He has kind of an interesting backstory. He was randomly playing a Game Boy Advance game. He came in here, he followed me. I don't know. Actually, you can see that right now. He followed me. He was not part of the onboarding process. He was a real person. I was streaming Ninja Gaiden, I guess, a couple days ago, and he followed me. Like, I don't know, yesterday or something. There's this song. I think we're gonna skip this one. Not a big fan of the carnival music. But he followed me a couple days ago, and he ended up being a really nice guy. So he has kind of a backstory very similar to me. We both own our own business. Both are actually like trading cards and retro kind of businesses. At least that's a specialty. His is out of like West Palm Beach something, California. Obviously mine's located in Canada. But what was kind of interesting about him was he recently discovered speedrunning. He had no prior knowledge that speedrunning was ever a thing. He tuned into AGDQ, I think it was like last year or something, or this year. One of the first people that he started watching on Twitch, he told me it was Arcus, and he was blown away, which is why he was looking up Ninja Gaiden, that somebody can beat it in like, 11 minutes or whatever, 11:39. And I guess he was like a big lurker of Arcus. He really liked watching Arcus. And as he discovered Arcus, he discovered more and more people in the retro community. But he said something. He said something that I think is really, really important for retro communities and retro channels, is we are basically like a community that's already small. Retro is a very small community. Like peak viewership, if you look like at the retro tab, I think highest I've seen it, unless somebody big is streaming some random thing, it's usually like 1,500 during peak hours or something like that. And then during kind of like the evening hours when it slows down, it's like 200 or 300 or something. So it's obviously a smaller community. It's an amazing community, but it's a smaller community. And what he said was the retro community is small. I agree with that. And he said the speedrunning community, which is like a sub-community of the retro community, is obviously even smaller. And I definitely agree with that. Like, we are a niche in a niche. Like a pie in a pie. And it made me kind of wonder, how do you grow your retro channel when your audience is very fixed? Your audience will always be very low unless you're attending somewhere like AGDQ or something. And even then, like even if you attend AGDQ, it's not like you'll get like 1 billion followers or anything. But this was kind of an interesting question to me, because it's very hard to diversify retro. I think I'll word it like that. It's very hard to diversify retro. So for example, Bovine Divine, as I mentioned earlier, has a great variety stream. I don't know if he's here. Sometimes he watches these podcasts. Bovine Divine basically has excellent viewership. He should be partnered at this point. He should be partnered. Per stream he streams 2 times a week. Per stream he has about 50 to 60 viewers solid, and he streams for like 4 to 7 hours sometimes. 60 viewers across the board. He has one of the most active chats I've ever seen ever on Twitch. Like, there's no difference between him and somebody that's partnered. And he does variety, so he plays off of real consoles and real hardware and stuff like that. And when he streams, that's basically what he does. It's like a big variety show of old hardware. And another person that I will think of off the top of my head for a different example, you could just say me. Obviously I speedrun, sometimes as Batman, recently as Ninja Gaiden, I've been learning that. Obviously like Bucky O'Hare, but for the most part, if you're watching me, it's because I speedrun random stuff. I don't really deviate from that very far. I speedrun random things. That's probably why you guys followed me while you're here. in my case, if I started playing stuff completely casually and I never touched speedrunning again, I am very curious what my viewership would look like. If, in my case, I stopped speedrunning specifically retro titles and switched only to Overwatch or first-person shooters, I'd be very curious to see what my viewership would look like. If Bovine, for example, with his incredible variety, decided one day, you know what, I'm gonna give all that up, I'm just gonna play fighting games all the time. I'm very curious again what his variety and his viewership would look like. And it makes me wonder, like, how do you diversify as a retro channel where if you diversify, you're basically giving yourself a death sentence, because the former community that followed you probably won't follow you to the new community. Like, you have some people that come for the personality, but for the most part, a bulk of what people show up for is what they're interested in. And as much as I like somebody, I'd have a really hard time watching them play first-person shooters or something that I don't like all the time. It's hard. It's hard for men. Just gotta throw that right out there, Base. It's true though. There is some gender stereotypes, I think, for sure on Twitch. That's something that I wanted to talk about in length, like probably next week or something. I actually have been asking quite a few females their experiences on Twitch and what they think of being in the minority of a male-dominated platform, and that's something that they have quite an interesting opinion on. And I think obviously as males, obviously we could offer like a reciprocal opinion. But anyway, like it seems the more you try to diversify your retro channel, the harder it is to retain that viewership unless you create something equally retro. And I don't really know how to word that other than other channels that are modern, I don't think really have that problem, because if you jump from modern to modern to modern, I think that's a little bit more successful than trying to go from retro to modern. It probably doesn't work like that. Not as easily anyway. So if you have a retro channel, switching to modern is like a death sentence. If you have a retro channel, switching to something entirely different, themed retro, is almost a death sentence. So I'm very curious how to grow viewership based on what you primarily stream in, I guess, a retro context. And in my own example, two of the things that I wanted to do to kind of branch out and give at least my channel a little bit more content was creating this podcast. So I thought that was an idea. I've always wanted to create just some kind of podcast or platform where I could talk and bounce ideas off people, because I think that's just a natural fit for my personality type. But the other thing that I wanted to do was to create blind races. So I don't know if the people that wanted to join this blind race will join this week. But I've had 3 in the last 3 weeks, and it's been pretty fun. We raced Darkwing Duck, Kid Clown, and what was the other one? James Bond 007, which is like the shittiest game ever. But yeah, so I kind of wanted to create content like that would give somebody a different reason to come back. I don't think it would kill. It wouldn't kill your viewership. It wouldn't kill your viewership at all. I don't think the potential, because like some of the highest streams that I get from a viewership point of view is when I play something casually. That Hebereki thing or whatever that I played a while ago, that was one of the highest viewerships I had. I casually played Castlevania 4. That was also one of the highest viewerships I've ever had. And there's like 40, 50 people. I think there's like 30 in Hebereki or whatever, and close to 50 in Castlevania 4. So like at this point, I should probably start streaming things more casually, and I've been trying to do that, but at the same time, you know how it is with speedrunning, right? You guys know. Once you have like something in mind, it's kind of hard to pull away from it. I'm really enjoying Ninja Gaiden. It's been an interesting endeavor. You're on the phone at the pool, no problem. Not a problem. Hey Axel, thank you for the ninja host there, sir. Didn't realize you were watching. I'd be interested in thinking your own personal experiences or something with retro. I know, again, I haven't named names, but you watch anybody in the retro community stream something retro, and then stream, what is that Player Unknown Battlegrounds thing? Like, their viewership is 1/10 of what they normally get. And there's definitely no denying that. So once you switch over to games that aren't quite as popular, your viewership basically gets like sliced in a quarter. And that's not necessarily bad. I think the primary objective of any channel is you should be streaming what you find interesting, like bar none. That's what your primary objective should be. It should not be to appease the viewership that you have started to amass. It should be what your personal interests are. That is what you stream. I don't think you should ever bend or whatever just to garnish viewers. Like that's really backwards to me. Hey Axel. Hey Kat. See, and that's the thing too, Hodar. I always want to call you like Radar. Like, I know that's wrong. See, you can bother me about being Canadian, I guess, and trying to call you Radar. But that's the thing. Like, I had that. I'll do that right now. I'll grab it for you guys. Because some of you might not have been aware of that. Some of you would, though, obviously. Probably should have grabbed this before, actually. So I made a poll on Twitch a while ago. And I did message some random people about it. Not a lot, actually. Most were surprisingly off Twitter, which I think is a very lame medium for the most part. But I was surprised at the response that I got. Some people retweeted it, and it was actually pretty generous of them, and I think like 64 people voted on it, which is not bad considering like 80 people follow me. Oh wait, sorry, that's the status. I didn't mean to do that. You guys, I'm sure you guys know how to click on the link. I'm sorry. That's the actual poll. But as you said, Hodar, if you check the results, I don't know if you've ever seen this poll. I don't know if a lot of people here have seen it. I know some people have. The two biggest chunks of that poll that people come back and they watch is they watch because of the personality of the streamer, and they watch because of the skill level of the streamer. And I personally voted in this poll based on skill. If I followed you, if I followed anybody specifically in this chat, it's because literally you are good at playing random video games, and I appreciate the skill. Unfortunately, in my case, personality comes second. Like, you could have the best personality ever. If you suck at video games, I will not be there. I'm sorry, I can't watch bad. I just can't. So, okay, base. Thank you, sir. It's like, can we do one podcast without that being brought up? Like, okay, it doesn't matter. I'm okay. Obviously, I'm okay. And I think a vast majority of people that probably would have followed me probably was based on some form of skill. Maybe it's personality. I hope it's not personality. I hope none of you guys are following me for personality. But yeah, skill definitely. Can you see? Can you see the sweat? Honestly, I'm roasting. It is hot in Canada. Okay, that's a very true statement. You did suck at Batman, and I did follow you. You're a friendly guy, though. I won't deny that, though. Your Batman play was very rough. But it was endearing. That's kind of like a different kind of follow. That was more of a personality thing at that point for me, because you were struggling to get through Batman. This was like a first time clear for X Vegas. He he has some trouble, that's for sure. but he persevered and he did it. It was good. He's a friendly guy. You know what? It's probably, I should never bitch about the weather. What is the actual weather here? Let me tell you guys. Okay, it's not bad. It's 26 Celsius. That's actually pretty, it's not bad. See, and that's where everybody's different, right? Ciphering, I mean. And I specifically made it so you can only pick one, because otherwise I would vote for all 5 too. But yeah, specifically in my case, it's because you're skilled. I followed pretty much, actually I think everybody on Twitch, because of their skill in video game. I don't think I've followed anybody else for any other reason, because I literally can't watch anybody else for any other reason. If I'm in your chat, it's because you're good at what you do. And yeah, I can't sugarcoat that. If you suck at video games, I will not be in your chat. I can't. The biggest interest to me is things like Evo, direct display of competition or skill, either in a head-to-head sense, or speedrunning, a direct case of physical skill in a singular sense. Like, I love seeing people, just being skilled. That's the biggest driving factor to why I use Twitch. Yeah, and suddenly Polly puts it together. Suddenly, if I'm never in your chat, it all makes sense. I'm sorry. Actually, you have weird streaming schedules. You seem to stream when I stream or when I'm not available. But I have only watched you once stream, I think. And that was still when Contra was a thing. Yeah, everybody sucks. That's basically it. Yeah, everybody sucks. But it should be a compliment of sorts. Like, maybe I'm a little bit weird on the personality front, because that was like the biggest response, but technically it is true. That is true in my case. And besides, like, were you complaining about Endy? Did you not see? You saw that picture on Twitter. Like, for some reason, for Endy, I watched him like 2 days in a row, and then I keep calling it Twitch, showed me, based on my viewing history, channels that I might enjoy. And even though I follow like 180 people, like Endy was like 8 in a row. It's like, here is Endy, and then Endy, and then Endy, and then Endy. So, whatever. I like you, Endy, clearly. You have no reason to worry. And Twitch apparently wants to make me gravitate towards you. It's like all Endy. I literally posted on Twitter, you should just rename Twitch NDTV. That's a good question. I do not exclusively watch speedruns. You would think, as somebody that speedruns, all I do is speedrun, which is kind of true. I am very interested in watching people casually play stuff that they've missed before blind. A really good example was Alrock a while ago for his like 500 follower special, I think. He streamed Chrono Trigger, and he had never played that before. I was glued, absolutely glued to Alrock. I knew what was going to happen. I was very curious to see what his response was to certain things that were going to happen in that game. And I like watching casual playthroughs of just stuff. Like, I like variety. If somebody that I watch speedrun something all the time, they try it casually. Like, Endy is actually a good example too. Obviously, he speedruns usually like Batman or Ninja Gaiden 2. When he picked up Battletoads, that was very cool to watch. Not only did he learn Battletoads in a pretty decent way, I was pretty glued to that. It was interesting to see him learn a new game, also to try to beat a new game that he had never played before, or beat before, I think, not played before. So as long as there's variety, I think I like that. I don't think I can use Twitch in a very repetitious way where I want to watch somebody all the time, but It is a personality thing sometimes too. It's just not a driving factor for me. It's full of boobs. Yeah, see, and Twitch is a really social place too, Messy. That's, I think, a lot of experience with Twitch is like when you see somebody that you prioritize in terms of personality or skill or whatever the case is in their streaming. That's why a lot of people jump from person A to person B. So it doesn't surprise me too. Like, I think everybody has favorites on Twitch. Apparently Andy's mine. Sorry everybody else, you suck. My goodness. Yeah, see, I think I'll be glued to that too. If you've never played that, that is like one of my favorite games of all time. So I'd be very interested in watching you play through that as well. So I don't know, we're all different, and that's the thing. Like, in a retro community, there's certain things that you will appear to watch with other people. See, yeah, it's kind of interesting there too. Well, I hope I never blow up, Polly. I like your company here. See, and that's the problem too. That's what I was just gonna say. Like with Andy, that's the problem with growing bigger, because you literally start something on Twitch from nothing. You start to grow. You create something, and then you become too big, and it's not manageable anymore. And then you have to kind of adapt in such a way that you treat everybody equally, but you never treat anybody individually anymore. And I don't look forward to that day if I keep streaming that I've grown so big that I can't interact on a base-to-base or personal level. And I have no idea how Arcus does it. Like, I know his chatter is fairly simplistic, but at the same time, like, he tries his damnedest to make sure everybody's addressed in chat. And it is something that I struggle with when I have a chat of like 30 people. So I don't know how he does it with like 200. That's utterly amazing to me. And I agree, his success is great. He absolutely deserves it, all of it. Whether or not he wanted it, I don't know. Maybe he didn't, but I'm glad that he got it. Okay, you keep being a degenerate. Okay, so Andy, you're here. You're obviously a partner. What do you notice your viewership, if you don't mind answering anyway, is like if you stream, and I haven't actually seen you stream, like you're legitimately one of the people that I watch almost daily when I'm around. Like if I see you streaming, I will be in your chat. I legitimately like watching you. You're a great combination of personality. You're a great combination of skill. So I like that. I have not seen you stream modern in a very long time. I know that you obviously like modern things because you talk about Street Fighter, you talk about Persona 5. If you stream something modern, what is your viewership like compared to if you stream something retro? Because obviously the primary focus of your channel is retro. You obviously stream retro content, you're a retro runner. Most people that would follow you, I think 99% are based in the retro community or have retro interests. So what happens if you stream something modern? Or kiss? Yeah, I guess you could. Viewership stinks. See, I don't know if I've actually seen you, like I'm still, quote, like a baby on Twitch, right? Because I have existed, I think, for 8 months here, but I've only streamed about 6. And even then, you could probably say like 5.5 is how long I've been around. I was literally in the middle of moving, because because I made my account in September, and then I was literally in the middle of moving to a new house all of October, and then by the time I finished moving, it was like October 21st. Rarely stream modern stuff. So then my follow-up question to you is, do you think creating the persona that you have, I shouldn't say persona, like I think if I were to meet you at like AGDQ or something like that, you would be exactly as you are on stream. I think you're very similar to me in that regard, where like we're not different people on stream, you're just ND. So if I were to meet you at AGDQ or something, I think you're the same person. That's my impression anyway of you. But my follow-up question to you would be, is if you have created this retro channel, this retro content, where everybody joins you to play retro video games or to watch your skill in retro video games, do you not want to stream modern sometimes? Like, do you not want to stream Persona 5 or something like that? And does it not suck not having the same viewership or anything like that? Because to me, I don't mind playing Overwatch. I probably will start to play Street Fighter 5 a lot more because I'm like hugely competitive into that. But this is what I mean. Like, I don't think I have sold my soul to one kind of stream so far. But I would hate to continue to grow in a retro sense and then all of a sudden find a modern interest, and then it's just a ghost town and I have to basically start over building a new community. That's what I'm trying to say. Swedish speed serum. It's probably a thing. The Swedes have all kinds of secrets. Rich is great. Rich is a very warm personality, and I think that's what draws people to him. Yeah, see, and that amazes me because I have almost 500 followers. I think it's like 479 or something. And I can't switch to modern. I think I will try in the next couple days to play something completely modern just to see how many people show up, because that will satisfy my curiosity. But you have what, 20? How much do you have? 20? Almost 3,000 or something like that? How much do you have? We'll check. 3,070. And if you have 6 times the amount of followers I have, and you can't switch over either, that again amazes me. One second. I'm gonna go close the window, there's a dog. Yeah, see, Dark Souls on release, 5 years, so that's pretty crazy. See, and then part of that too is the influx of people. Like, when you are a retro streamer, it's very possible that you can have 100% of the viewership of a game on a certain day. So for example, like Batman, like obviously you stream Batman. I stream Batman sometimes. Dexter sometimes, not so much right now, streams Batman. Rich, some other people. But the whole point is, within the retro community, there might be people that run Batman, but there's not really people that run Batman at the same time. So it's very possible that if you decide to stream Batman one day, ND, you have literally 100% of the viewership. Nobody else on Twitch is streaming that. So if anybody has that game followed, that's an automatic viewer in your channel, no matter what. At least if they have interest about it anyway. But when it comes to modern games, that's not the case. You can stream Dark Souls 3 or whatever, and you might be one of like 500 people streaming it on launch day. So that cuts the viewership very competitively, and that's not something that I think we get to experience for the most part in retro community, at least. Want to be a speedrunner too. I don't know. I find it interesting. I don't think there's a lot of I don't think the reciprocal is true. Like, if you're a modern runner, I don't think the opposite is true. Like, I think you can switch from modern to retro and be relatively okay. Like, if somebody that primarily streams, like let's say Overwatch or something, wants to try out Batman for a day or a week even, I think his viewership will be fine, or her viewership will be fine. But switching that around, if I primarily stream retro and I want to go into Overwatch for a week, it's gonna get slaughtered. Like, it doesn't equate well. Actually, before you join chat, I actually referenced him because I used to stream Mario Maker, and this is exactly the guy that I was talking about. When he does Super Expert, I literally said 1,000 viewers on average. He switches to Pokemon, he drops down to like 200. So. Oh, you meant 1,000? I don't know, man. I've seen him play Pokemon and it drops down. Like, it drops down to 200, 300. But when he plays Mario Maker, it's like over 1,000. It's very solid. And that's how it should be, Joniel. Like, you should stream whatever you want. It shouldn't be... You shouldn't stream just to appease your viewers. So hot, man. Yeah, Turbo, yeah, you're in it for the long haul. I believe you did. Turbo is definitely a retro streamer, and I randomly visit his stream quite a bit. And there's like times where he's playing a game for like 8 hours. He doesn't give a shit. So I believe you, dude. You stream whatever you want, and you're fiercely behind that. He's a really fun guy, by the way. Like, if everybody's not following everybody in this chat already, you should be. But Turbo is, yeah, he's a good guy. My shoulder is so sore. So I don't know what his Hearthstone thing is. I haven't watched him in a long time. Like, as I said, I have existed on Twitch for, I'd say about 6 months, maybe 6 or 7 months, I don't know exactly. But when I first started, I actually did stream Mario Maker, so I was well aware of him and Grand Pooh Bear and Carl Sagan and stuff like that. But I haven't watched Mario Maker in a long time, and I know the last time I did watch Mario Maker, he alternated between Pokemon Sun and Moon and super expert on Mario Maker. And when he streamed Mario Maker, it was like anywhere from 800 to 1300 people. He streamed Pokemon Moon or Sun, whatever he was playing, it dropped down to like 200. And you guys probably don't know, I am like the world's biggest Pokemon nerd. When it comes to the game, when it comes to the card game, dude, we're like nerdy into it. And I would watch those streams because he did VGC battling, which I like. But yeah, no, the viewership was not at all similar. I definitely can't agree to that. So I don't know what Hearthstone is like, maybe the viewership is higher, but in terms of that particular streamer having equal viewers to Pokemon, it didn't happen. It was like 80% lost, at least. You love some Pokemon? We could message me sometime about it, we could talk endlessly. Like, no joke, I'm okay. I laddered in X and Y. The top ladder in X and Y was ranked like 1859, and my rank online was like 1813. So I was pretty up there. I still don't agree, Messi, because my primary time where I watch Twitch is actually during European hours. Like, it's late into the evening my time, and I've never seen him hit more than like 300 people. Then again, I could be talking blind because I haven't watched him in like literally months, so maybe it's changed. But at least when I was watching him, he would have, as I said, anywhere from like 800 to 1300 viewers during 12, maybe like midnight my time, which would be like 8 o'clock his time, going into about 3 o'clock, because sometimes I do work from 12 until 3. And yeah, if the bulk of Europeans aren't waking up then, I don't know when they are. But I never saw numbers like that. But as I said, I could be completely wrong. It's not like I've watched him in probably 4 or 5 months now. I haven't watched any Mario Maker in a very long time. You're shiny hunting. Good job, dude. I like that. Hey, Spiral. See, and that's the interesting thing too. Like, you're getting to a point you're actually quite a good runner yourself. So I do hope that you continue to grow as well, because you're kind of swept under the rug a little bit. My headphones are on backwards. Yes, they actually are, because whenever you have audio going in or whatever, it should always be in the left one, and this is inversed because the wire that comes up is actually quite long. So I have it hung on this side of my computer, so that way I don't have to worry about it. Otherwise it like catches on the microphone or it catches on the keyboard, and it's really annoying. So I do have it swapped inversed. Hey, Randance Run, by the way. How you doing, sir? Well, I think that's almost what I wanted to talk about. It was basically the onboarding thing. Andy, if you're still here, that's what I talked about earlier, before you appeared in chat. I am under the assumption you have been blessed by this onboarding program, whatever you want to call Twitch, that's rolled out, where people sign up on their mobile phone and they answer a questionnaire or something. You automatically get followed based on their interests. Out of all the people that are not active in your chat that have followed you off of onboarding, how many people have you seen actually join your chat or talk, if you're aware of a statistic like that? Because I said in my case, I think there's been like maybe 20 people or something. I haven't seen anybody that followed me from that. they're just kind of like ghosts. So I'd be curious in like a bigger sample size. Rocket League. I would like to see Axel Blaze Rocket League. That sounds kind of cool. It always amazes me, like this is where assumptions are wrong. You should never have assumptions. I honestly thought, like, Axel, you're like die-hard retro enthusiast. There's like no way that I could take away Panic Restaurant from your cold dead hands. Like, I would have to pry it and probably saw off one of your hands to get that out of there. So the fact that you have an interest in Rocket League I think that's fantastic. I love seeing really retro-driven streamers branch out and play modern things. It's always kind of cool to see where their interest lies. So the onboarding, I know you came a little bit late to Cyphern. Basically, if you have Twitch on your mobile device, like a phone, you register for an account. I guess there's like a questionnaire or something, I don't know, like some kind of interest thing that you fill out. Once you fill it out, it recommends like 4 or 5 different channels or something like that to you. But without any kind of confirmation, as far as I know, it automatically follows those channels for you. So they rolled out this onboarding thing maybe 4 days ago or something, I think it was talked about. The very first influx of onboarding created weird numbers, like some people were getting hundreds of followers per day, but that's probably because that was like the first day one system thing. As it kind of went on day by day, the influx has definitely lowered. It's not as bad now. But without any confirmation, they follow you based on whatever questionnaire or something that you ask or you answer. And more than 4 days, okay, I'll believe you on that. I honestly haven't known. I don't think I've really streamed and noticed it. But the other day, I don't know when it was. I'll believe you though. So yeah, okay, maybe more than 4 days. Anyway, when it was onboarding or whatever, without any kind of confirmation, they would follow your channel, but they don't have to participate in chat, like they don't have to open up your channel, they don't have to do anything. They just automatically follow a channel based on some kind of select interest or retro interest or something that they have. So in my personal experience, I think maybe of the last 20 people that followed me or something, like 15 came from this onboarding thing. And I don't think of those 15 people that followed me, I have seen them once in chat. They've never talked, they've never appeared, they've never done anything. They're kind of like dead weight. And I think it's like moderately frustrating because you can't opt out of it as a streamer. You're just kind of stuck. Like you have to embrace it, you have to accept it. And I mean, if they come back, it's not really a big deal, but at the same time, I don't know. I like, to me, like if you choose to follow somebody, you've formed some kind of connection either through gameplay or their personality. It's very few people just follow everybody for no reason. At least in my case, I'm rather picky with who I follow. I'm not just gonna follow hordes and hordes of people for no reason. Hey Wolfie, how you doing, sir? They're learning to Twitch. But yeah, the onboarding process definitely takes away what it means, I think, to follow somebody. If every single person that signs up automatically follows a bunch of people and they never interact in any chat, like they're not contributing to a community, which I don't expect them to contribute, because if you want to lurk, that's okay. You know, there's nothing wrong with listening and being quiet, but you know, I guess at the end of the day, I'd rather have 50 people following me, and of those 50 people, all active and comfortable and talking with me, than 500 people where like 4 show up all the time just because of the onboarding process. See, but I don't know if they're actually finding you. Like, I should have done my homework and I should have actually created like a separate Twitch account to figure out how this works. And that's a fault of mine that I didn't do it, but I didn't want to register for another Twitch account because I don't need one. But if, as far as I understand, you sign up on the mobile device, there is no confirmation. You fill out something, like some kind of general interest of what you like on Twitch or what your video game interests are, and then it recommends channels to you, and then it automatically follows those channels without any kind of confirmation, which is why you see all these people getting followed without any kind of participation in chat. It's like a very automated process, and that part is a little bit lame. Like, I don't expect people to join and chat and talk, but at the same time, it's like, what's the point of this onboarding thing if there's no quality control? A machine is saying, yes, you might enjoy this content creator, but there is no actual viewing of their content prior to the automatic follow. And at that point, it's basically completely blind. And that seems like a not well thought out to me. But I agree, if they stick around, like if they actually watch you and like you, it's not bad. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. They could have executed it better. I think they definitely could have executed it better. Maybe give like a preview or something like that of a channel, and then if you liked it as a viewer, you could follow the creator, or I don't know, something like that. Make it more manual, not so automated and streamlined. There's actually let me open it up. I like this one. Oops. Apparently I don't know how to write a link. And I commend people for treating all of the onboarding followers as if they're real people. And Bovine is really good at introducing himself to every single person and talking to himself to every single person. But that particular onboarding follow kind of got the best of him. And I mean, like, you're talking to people that aren't even there, so it is kind of interesting why they decided to do that. Because I get it. Like, actually, I get it. You're forcing new accounts to at least experience the social aspect of Twitch. And as I say, this is a weird idea. I actually checked my account prior to this. I had a really, really, really old account. It's 5.2 years old. I followed 0 people. I've never sent a message from that account, and I used it annually prior to streaming myself on this account. And the only reason that I created this account was because back then I couldn't change my name. And go like this. That was my old one. But I've never followed anybody. As I said, I used it annually. What I used it for was Evo. Whenever Evo was held, usually in July, I would watch Evo specifically on Twitch. Sometimes I would sign in, but as I said, I've never sent a message to anybody. I've never reached out. I've never been social. I've never done anything with that account. So if that was my experience prior to streaming, I'm pretty sure that's going to be other people's experiences. If they're not like a content creator or a streamer themselves. So this way with the onboarding, Twitch is introducing them possibly to channels that they might not have an innate interest in to come back and enjoy Twitch when it's not something like an event that's annual. And I do get that point from Twitch. Like, I get that they're trying to bring back an average viewer to enjoy something that they might not, on average, look or seek on Twitch. Yeah, I did say in Bovine's chat that you were real. That's exactly why. That's 100% exactly why. Like, he unfortunately gets like 30, 40 follows a night, and they're probably all from the onboarding. Out of all the people that I saw yesterday when I watched for like 2 hours, I think he got like 20 or 30, and there was 2 people in chat that responded to him. So possibly 28 out of 30 were onboarding. Shout out to Evo. You come with me next year. I actually think I might attend next year. But we'll see. start traveling. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sweaty. I feel weird. I think I'm curious to see. I wish that I had access to like the analytics on Twitch's side. Is if you introduce somebody brand new to Twitch to 5 varied channels, maybe not exactly similar, but you know, different enough, of that viewer of those 5 channels, will they actually come back and watch one? I'm very curious to see analytics based on that. But obviously that's probably never going to be in my possession or anything. You just have to speculate. Like if you were brand new on Twitch and through this onboarding thing you were signed up to 5 random channels, would you even check them out, or would you just use Twitch as you kind of use a TV, find what you already know that you like and watch what you know that you enjoy? Because I think if I was in the onboarding thing and I created a thing, I don't think I would check out the channels myself. If that's like a forced automated thing where I don't have a choice, I think I would probably just unfollow those people and then start looking up on Twitch what I actually enjoy. Because if there's anything that I've learned about streaming on Twitch, the viewer has extreme tunnel vision. But I think we're all guilty of that. Like, we have certain things that we like to watch. And yes, eventually a personality or something comes along that transcends that, and you're willing to watch something different based on that personality. But for the most part, there's certain games or certain personalities, but for the most part, certain content that everybody is kind of attracted to. And I think it's kind of hard to transcend that, because humans, by basis, are like creatures of habit. So if you like Batman, which I like, I think Hyrexon said it one time, it's like if there's a Batman stream, it's like Dave is in there somewhere. And it's true, I like watching people play Batman. If I have a choice between a bunch of different games and Batman is one of them, I'll probably be in a Batman stream. So I know that's a universal, very generalized statement, but at the same time I think it's also a very true statement. People tend to have tunnel vision on Twitch, and I think in that case, if I was part of the onboarding process, I would not, for the most part, reach out and watch random variety channels that they're recommending me. Can't click on the link from the new mobile app. Okay, well, I think I'll probably wrap this up. Thank you guys for hanging out again. I think, as I said, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about this time. Was the onboarding, specifically the onboarding and retro growth. Retro growth is a little bit tricky. And I look forward to continuing to grow, but at the same time, I don't know, it'll be interesting. I think it's kind of interesting for everybody to grow in the retro community. But who do we have on here? Alright, okay, I know exactly. Lanks went live 3 minutes ago. He's got 2 955s in like the last day, I think. So maybe today will be his world record day. Hey, thanks, Hodar. I want to aim to do these maybe like every 2 weeks, maybe bi-weekly. I like when people jump in. I like when it's live. I like when people bring up alternating opinions or anything like that. So, Drumstree. Alright, I'll pretend that made sense, Siphon. Okay. That's amazing bass. It's true. I was really surprised when you were streaming Super Meat Boy. I think it's a great game for you. Like, if there's a game that exists that was created specifically for you, it's that. But yeah, if Lanks is drumming, even better. I thought he was doing Contra. It says world record attempts. I don't think he's world record attempting drums. But yeah. Go watch Lanks. Go give him your support. He's so close to a Contra record. Hopefully he'll get it. Yeah, thank you all for stopping by. It's fun. I like these.